So Veronica's probably better time
So
than me.
I'm starting my stopwatch, and then I'm not gonna check the time the whole time anyway. So, but like, I used to join drama classes, and at some point my teacher took me aside and she said, you know, Veronica, I have noticed that since you started training karate, you are becoming quite aggressive. And at that point, I was 11, and I've been training for a month. So the chance that I have become a Hulk in that period is quite minimum. But I think that most of you have been taught things like, oh, so you train because you need to get the energy out, right? And you need to deal with your aggression and things like that. So today I'm going to, let me see if I touch if something happens. Nothing happens. Ha. So, so today I'm going to talk about this misinterpretation of aggression, but more of assertiveness in terms of like not trying to hurt anyone, but expressing your inner energy, and also the animal, the inner animal, which is quite often portrayed in martial arts, but many times it's just, oh, it's a technique that looks like a tiger, right? And this is not the whole picture. So I'm advocating that martial arts can be a safe environment to awaken your animal and to regulate your emotions. I'm going to talk about this switch as a tool to help you regulate in between two extremes. So a little bit about myself. I'm from the Czech Republic. I moved to Hong Kong to learn Kung Fu from my Sifu, where I studied my PhD in sports psychology before my education was in social education in the Czech Republic. And my last time here was in 2017, which is ages ago. But since then, I have done my PhD in psychology, in sports psychology in traditional Chinese martial arts, focusing on mental toughness and psychological collectivism. And some other things came out, including what I'm going to talk about today. It's actually part of the paper that got published this year that I wrote maybe 6 years ago and forgot that it existed. And then this year it got published, so I was like, oh, great. So I'm going to present that. So I focus mostly on qualitative research, phenomenology, but also some quantitative as well, like mixed methods. And I have been out of academia for some time because for me, the logical step from this was this. So at 36, I turned professional in MMA and I left academia so I could train. So now I live in Thailand and I teach Kung Fu online together with mental health techniques and mental coaching as kind of like a holistic package. So now you know me. So about this study, so the qualitative part of the study was made with 8 European adults practicing martial arts for a different period of time, traditional styles from China, and I took around 90-minute interview with each of them. Some of them were quite funny. For example, one we did on a taxi in Foshan at around midnight. Because I was visiting different schools, so that was the only time we could do that. And as you know, qualitative research can take you to some crazy places. So this was one of them. It was quite huge, so I did a structure equation modeling and also quite big of the IPA. Some of the themes that were not my intention came out, so this is one of them. So first, let me talk a bit about the inner animal. It's a common topic or common name that we use when we talk about martial arts, right? For example, Sheridan in his amazing book talk about how his coach is becoming an animal when he is about to fight. That means his energy is coming out, he's ready to engage, and then he's becoming calm when he is not fighting. We also talk about the animal as giving us, awakening animal, as giving us some special skills. In Farah's work, we talk about, or we read about how when you're becoming an animal, it's not only using the movements, but almost like gaining skills that otherwise are not obtainable for you, like becoming the best human being you can be. almost like even gaining like super skills. Paul and George also, in his work about Silam, they both talk about how the animal is not only the illustration of the technique, but also all the other things that come with that. So I will borrow an example from Hungar, which is the style I train and teach. We have lots of animals in there. We have 5 main animals. We have lots of tigers, right? We have so many tigers in Hungar. And for us, it's not only, oh, it looks like a tiger, but it also means not only the hands will do something, like bend your fingers, etc., but it's also how you feel. The intention is there. The intent goes into your opponent, into the fight. But it's also the strategy, like the tiger wanna destroy, wanna go forward, okay? Maybe not very smart. But then we have other animals, like the crane, which is much smarter than the tiger, but also it's quite a weak bird, so has to use the power of your opponent, more attack the weak points, etc. So the animal is not only about how you look like, but also how you behave, or what kind of mental capacity or mental characteristic you take on. So there is a switch that I found in my work, which is basically the switching between being active, taking the power of the animal, and being not passive, but being round, being able to adapt to things that are happening around you. So you detach from the automatic thinking. You are aware of what is happening in your body. You are aware of what you're feeling. You are aware of your body, what your body is doing. There is a lot of embodied mindfulness and also wellness, if advocated right. I will give you 2 samples from the research. There are 2 different people. The first one said, it changed my attitude, maybe not that much how I think about myself, but about me in the environment I am. It's not about the self-understanding getting into my head. Tai Chi changed the way I adjust to the environment that I am in. It makes it smoother, as if took obstacles out of the way. So this participant, she was describing that it didn't really change how she would become maybe calmer about things, but she was more adaptable to things. She was more round, she said. Same word was used with a different participant. I'm more rounded, less extreme, maybe smoother, but sometimes it's better not to be smooth. I control my temper much better. I could get angry very easily until now. The only person who can eliminate me is myself. Those are 2 different people, and this emerged quite often. Now, taking a step a little bit aside, connecting martial arts and therapies and well-being, it's not a new topic. So we already know that martial arts can be a safe space to understand who you are. It's where you can connect with your own, get the mirror of who you are, see who you are. There is a strict code of behavior that serve as some kind of trails for you, so you know what is right, what is wrong. For some people, this can be very important and healing. There has been researches where martial arts has been used in therapies or psychotherapies, or verbal therapies even. We know that posture, breath, and movement regulate emotions. This is a predictor of psychological health, and also there is a connection of burnout and this kind of switch, which of course was not described as the same way as I'm describing, but in this specific work, it's been said that people who are not having the ability to switch off have much more higher chances of burning out or staying too much in the intensity. So martial arts can give us a very good constrained learning environment. These are 3 examples. So the first one is the physical. You learn through your body. You learn to feel your body. You are aware of your body. you do physical skills. The second one is the social. So you have some kind of family model that gives you boundaries, tells you this is right, this is wrong. You have some hierarchy, you have role models, you are a role model for people coming after you, etc. And then there's the feedback, things like, oh, you're hitting too hard, can you slow down a bit? But also can be something like, oh, you can hit me harder, come on, you don't have to be so afraid, you don't have to be so shy. So it both ways, and that is very important. That it's not only about people getting into martial arts, having trouble with their aggressivity, like, oh, I'm too much and I need to calm down, but also people having trouble to express their assertiveness, so becoming louder or telling what they want or what they like or dislike. When we step on to the mats or dojo or kwon or however you would like to call it, we often get stripped off all the roles and all the titles. So even though you step in as a CEO or a lawyer, suddenly you're not that anymore. So who you are then if you are not all these titles that you had? So you can finally, maybe for some people, finally find out the real truth of yourself, or like awaken your animal in a safe space. And then there is the martial art family. There is the transition from the outsider to the insider. You have the community helping you. You have the community helping you to stay safe. When you explore your inner animal, you have someone giving you boundaries. Of course, this can turn also into something very toxic and things like harassment. But this is not the topic of the presentation, but I just thought that I should mention here for sure. So when we talk about embodied regulation, we can have both. We can have the switch to when you are able to express yourself in healthy way without hurting others, but also you can learn how to be more adaptive, how to be round, how to not get so angry, maybe, for example, easily. On the other hand, suppressing can lead to both when you disengage with things, but also when you burn out or when you are too much in the intensity, when you get tired very quickly. You can see the same thing in the physical skills as well, right? If you're sparring, you need to be able to rest even though you are under pressure, because if you don't rest, you will get tired very quickly. And some people would say there is no such thing as guessing out in the fight. It just means that you didn't regulate your emotions well in the fight. So on the one hand, we have the resilience, we have the ability to be more round, to take things, to not react to them if we choose to. And on the other hand, we have the vitality we can take from for example, the inner animal that we meet in the space of the martial arts school, which can help us also to develop this kind of self-coherence, which I call the inner compass. It's something that also lots of practitioners in my work talk about, and in my practice as well, that there is this kind of inner compass telling you, you do this, you behave like this because this is right, such as, make your bed in the morning because it's right. It takes you where you want to be. Where you should be, where you're trying to be as a person. It's your self-compass telling you, okay, this is what you're trying to achieve. So the conclusion, the learning design, the embodied experience and feedback loops can create a structured path for self-regulation. And the traditional Chinese martial arts, I say here traditional Chinese martial arts because this is the focus of my research. I'm not saying that boxing is not the same case, but this is what I focus on. Function as a profound system for mental health and psychological balance. And I want to close with the taming the animal, which is a common phrase in Hungar. It's also the name of one of our pillar forms. The taming the animal and freeing the animal are the two sides of the same coin. And the coin is the payment for you for the balance between burning out and staying asleep. Thank you.